Listen and practice.
Dear Pete, today was the first day of class. My new teacher, Miss Diggs, told us that we should make the class rules. First, we all shared our ideas about rules. There were lots of great ideas. Miss Diggs wrote them on the board. Some of the ideas were similar, but others were in conflict. There were too many suggestions. Next, Miss Diggs put us into different teams. Each team chose 10 rules. We debated our opinions. Sometimes we agreed, but other times we couldn't. Miss Diggs erased the rules that we agreed weren't needed. There were still 15 rules left. We each voted for the 10 best rules. Everyone went back to their individual desk. We took out a piece of paper and wrote down the 15 rules. Miss Diggs collected everyone's ballot. We counted up the votes. The 10 rules that got the most votes became our class constitution. Miss Diggs printed it on a special piece of paper. She put it up on the wall. We can all see and remember it easily. How was your first day of school? Nate.
Listen and practice.
You're not going to believe this, but I missed it. I left really early so I wouldn't be late, but I wrote the address down wrong and I couldn't find the office. I was so nervous about the interview that I forgot my phone, too, so I couldn't call them and ask for directions. I was so mad at myself. I really wanted that job.
Listen and practice.
I was so disappointed, and so was my niece. I had flowers and a card to give her, and I really wanted to be there for her special day. But I ran out of gas on my way to the school. Can you believe that? I made it to her graduation party later that evening, but I really wanted to make it to the ceremony.
Listen and practice.
I'm glad I decided to study there. My Spanish is much better now. It's pretty expensive, but the facilities are very good. They have a great computer lab, and there's free Wi-Fi all over campus. It's much better than the school I was going to last year.
Listen and practice.
Mukesh Ambani, a businessman in India, is the owner of the most expensive house in the world. Ambani's dream house is 27 stories high, so it has room for everything his family needs and wants. Mr. Ambani owns a lot of cars, so the first 6 floors of his house are just for cars. Another floor of the house has a movie theater with seats for 50 people. 2 floors of the house are for a health center with a gym and a swimming pool. Another floor is for guests of the Ambani family. The 4 floors at the top of the building are just for the Ambani family. From there, they have a view of the Arabian Sea.
Listen and practice.
People have very different ideas for their dream home, their perfect house or apartment. Some people dream of a simple house in a special place. Others want a large house with every convenience. Henry David Thoreau, an American writer, lived from 1817 to 1862. At the age of 28, he built his perfect house. It was a very small house, just 10 feet by 15 feet, 3 meters by 4.5 meters. Inside, there were just 3 chairs, a bed, a table, and a small desk. The location of his house was very important to Thoreau. He built his house in the woods, close to a beautiful lake.
Listen and practice.
Dikembe Mutombo, a professional basketball player, built a very different type of dream home. Mutombo grew up in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, but he moved to the United States to study. He wanted to be a doctor, but instead, he became a famous basketball player. Mutombo's dream home is in the Congo, and it has beds for 150 people. It also has an emergency room, many exam rooms, and some beautiful gardens. Mutombo didn't build his dream home for himself. Instead, he built it for the people in his native country. Mutombo's dream home is a hospital.
Listen and practice.
I used to live in a nice apartment downtown, in a pretty interesting neighborhood. But the thing was, they wouldn't let you keep a pet. I really wanted to get a cat, so I moved to a place where you could keep pets. Now I live in a building near the park, and there's 2 of us, me and my cat Felix. We play all the time.
Listen and practice.
We used to have a nice apartment downtown. It had great views of the city. But then these new people moved in upstairs. They played loud music all the time, and the sound came straight through the ceiling and into our apartment. It was terrible, so we moved. Now we're living in a nice small house in the suburbs, and our neighbors are very quiet.
Listen and practice.
My new apartment is on a high floor and it's great. There's no noise at all. I only hear the birds in the park. Before that, I lived in a first-floor apartment. It had a little yard, which was nice, but I heard people coming and going all the time. And it was close to the street, so I heard all the traffic too.
Listen and practice.
We didn't really want to move because we loved our apartment. We had a wonderful landlady too. She didn't raise the rent for years, and if anything was broken, she would get it fixed really fast. But with the children getting older, we needed to be closer to a good school. So that's why we moved. Now we live in an apartment in the suburbs.
Listen and practice.
My new apartment has a huge kitchen and a great stove. I'm really happy about it. I love to cook and have parties, but the kitchen in my old place was so tiny. And the dining room was small too. The location was good, but I could never have people over for dinner, so I needed to find something different.
Listen and practice.
It's a great place to stay. The atmosphere is so glamorous and exciting. There are bright lights at the front door, and people always arrive in really expensive cars. The rooms are really beautiful, too. Of course, it's not the cheapest hotel in Miami, but it's definitely the best.
Listen and practice.
I'm reading a story about a parrot that saved two people's lives. A man and his son fell asleep on the couch watching a movie. While they were sleeping, their house caught on fire. They woke up suddenly when they heard their parrot imitating a smoke alarm. Apparently, their smoke alarm did go off, but it wasn't loud enough to wake them up.
Listen and practice.
Wow, did you hear about the twin sisters that were separated at birth? They were adopted by different families when they were babies and grew up in different cities. But after high school, they both attended the same college. They figured out they were twins. They were even in the same class.
Listen and practice.
Earth's crust. Earth is round, like an orange. Oranges have a skin, and Earth has a skin too. We call this skin Earth's crust. Under the crust, there is very hot rock. Earth's crust has different pieces. These pieces move very, very slowly. Millions of years ago, the pieces moved and made mountains. Under mountains, the crust is thick, but under the ocean, it's thinner. When two pieces of the crust move and meet, there can be earthquakes.
Listen and practice.
A volcano is a hole in Earth's crust. When a volcano erupts, hot rock flies out from under the ground, and melted rock pours out over the ground. Volcanoes under the ocean sometimes make new islands. In 1963, a volcano in the Atlantic Ocean made a new island called Surtsey. There are many different rocks in Earth's crust. They are millions of years old. The rocks are often different colors. In the Painted Desert in Arizona, in the USA, you can see the different rocks.
Listen and practice.
You can't please everyone.
One day, Nasruddin wanted to take his young son into town. "You can ride the donkey," he told his son, "and I'll walk next to you." So, Nasruddin's son got on the donkey, and they started down the road into town. A little while later, Nasruddin and his son came across some people on the road. The people looked at the boy on the donkey with disapproval. One person said, "Look at that healthy young boy. Can you believe today's young people? They have no respect for their parents. That boy rides on the donkey, and his poor father has to walk." When the boy heard this, he was very unhappy. He asked his father to ride the donkey instead of him. So, Nasruddin got on the donkey, and the boy walked next to him. Soon, they met another group of people on the road. One person said, "Well, look at that. That poor boy has to walk while his father rides the donkey." After the people walked away, Nasruddin told his son to get on the donkey with him. "No one can criticize us now," he said. But soon they met two old men on the road. The men looked at Nasruddin and his son with disapproval. "That poor donkey looks very tired," one of the men said. Nasruddin stopped the donkey and got off. Then he said to his son, "The best thing is for both of us to walk. Then no one can criticize us." So Nasruddin and his son walked down the road, and the donkey walked behind them. Soon they met some more people on the road. One person said, "Just look at those fools. Both of them are walking in this hot weather, and no one is riding the donkey. How stupid they are." Nasruddin looked at his son and said, "You can't please everyone.